Airport, the controversy. Where is the international airport? Yes, I'm pretty sure you have been asking as well. You have been thinking, what's happening, especially with a recent picture in circulation on social media. You too would have been wanting to know something about the international airport and how things are going. Well, that is what we are looking at today. And to do justice to this topic of discussion today, we've got Comrade Emmanuel Onwubiko. He is a former federal commissioner, Nigerian National Human Rights Commission. And also, we have another person also to discuss this topic today, who is Ugo-Akpe Onwuka. He is the International Coordinator, Igbo Renaissance Forum. And also, we have another speaker. He is Maazị Tochukwu Ezeoke, the President, Ekunie Initiative and CEO of Njenje Media. We all will be talking about this topic today, Enugu International Airport, the controversy. Where is International Airport? So strap on your seatbelt, people. If you are ready, we are super ready to hit the road. And our guests today will have some time to give us a presentation of our topic of discussion before we proceed. So we have Nze Ugo right here with us. Nze, are you ready for us?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here. And it's a great pleasure being here with my brothers, Maazị Ezeoke and Emmanuel Onwubiko. And our viewers, it's a great pleasure being with you today to discuss this very pressing and important issue. It would interest us. I would like to start from the back to the front. That's what I normally like doing. So I would like to say that it is unfortunate that we were in such a hurry to commission an uncompleted project. A lot of people have put me right that there was nothing about hurry related to the matter, but I would like to correct that impression. We had 1 full year. In fact, we had more than 1 year, 371 days. That's what we had. Now I can go back to the beginning. Enugu Airport was shut down on the 24th of August. By the time the airport was 2019, 24th of August 2019, by the time it was shut down, there was no money appropriated for the rehabilitation works that were hyped. It took the efforts of private individuals and organizations to push for that money to be released. So from the standpoint of my organization that I represent, Igbo Renaissance Forum, we feel that the lapse started from the beginning. You don't shut down an airport and then you start thinking of how to get money to fix it. That was not what happened to Abuja. That was not what happened to Lagos. So from where we sit, we feel there's a gap that has not been closed, and that gap is still dragging. So as we look at the timeline of Enugu Airport, from begging for the funds to repair the airport, we now went into the phase of excuses. The airport was supposed to be opened officially in December 2019. Sadly, the same Emejulu story that came up this time was also the reason why the airport was not opened in December 2019. And then you ask yourself, okay, we had issues with the architect, Emejulu, and his issues with the land. From December, January, February, March, April, they promised it was going to be up in April. April came. In fact, before April in March, the House Honorable Member Int'l went there with some other people for inspection, routine inspection. That's what they call it. They went there. They were there with the committee set up by the Southeast governors to oversee the project. That is the Engineer Chris Okoye committee that was supposed to be overseeing the airport. And it would shock you that they were standing there and arguing between FAN and the contractor PW. They were arguing on status of the job. FAN says there's a problem with his shoulder. PW says that is what the specification says. And the honorable member and the committee were standing there. And at the end of the day, I was shocked. Our organization was scandalized for Honorable Nnolinaji to be proffering excuses on behalf of the contractor. I know you people would not forget that the reasons they gave then was that quarry dust was nowhere to be seen around the southeast for work to continue. You see, excuses. We passed that stage. Coronavirus came and helped them. I'll give it to them. Coronavirus came and work had to stop. Fine, all well and good. But the question is, from the release of funds up to March, when coronavirus came, what was going on in that airport? Let us not forget in a hurry. Abuja Airport was, in fact, Julius Berger was commended. They completed it in 5 weeks and 4 days. If I'm correct, it wasn't up to 6 weeks actually, but people say Abuja was completed in 6 weeks. Julius Berger was commended for doing that job in a little less than 6 weeks. The scope of work in Abuja and the Enugu is about the same scope, give and take. Now, why would we have Enugu Airport go through, let's say the money released and everything started flowing October, November, December, January, February, March, and coronavirus came? What was happening in all those months? Okay, let's allow that pass. We came out from the coronavirus issue. We were supposed to see the airport open by the 30th of August. Why would we wait and then start a fire brigade approach on putting finishing touches to a runway that you were going to commission? Because now, unfortunately, it's good for the viewer to understand that Enugu Airport, from the excuses and stories they are telling now, wasn't about terminal building or other structures within the airport. Now, the argument is being skewed to one side to say that why the airport was shut down was because of a bad runway. As far as I'm concerned, it's shifting the goalpost. You told us money has been marked out for these jobs, and it's taking you 371 days to do only runway. 371 days to do only runway that you had to few hours to the commissioning. You were still painting runway. You were still marking the runway. Few hours to the opening. Few hours to the opening. You are telling us stories that some of the facilities are being configured in one country somewhere. 371 days after. 371 days after. The lights are not there. And we all jumped there to go and commission the airport. I do not want to bring in the issue of people that were killed so that people won't say we are mixing emotions with this. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to concentrate on the inefficiencies and the lapses and the unseriousness that went into the Enugu Airport for us to have an uncompleted national airport. There's nothing about internationally about Enugu. There's nothing that makes it international. Can an international flight land in Enugu today? The answer is a big no. A very big no. And it is important to also make people know the facts. When you tell people you're going to do a project and people believe you, and you start running these things, and it comes back to what we are running away from. On October 23rd, 2019, I was on Focus Nigeria on AIT, and I told people, PW is the same company that collapsed in 5 years. Bring back the same PW again, and they keep drinking Akamo on the same job. The question is, why is it that PW has not been probed? Every government official that got involved in that airport construction in 2011 should be on the hot seat as we speak. From the minister to the least person should be answering questions. A runway that should have lasted for at least, give and take, let's say we did not maintain and we didn't do things right, at least 15 years. And in 5 years, it became the most dangerous airport in Nigeria by the standards of those who shut it down. And everybody is still walking around free on the street. You find out that this is the reason why corruption will never go away from this climb. If people commit such things and they are still in office, or they are still moving around as respectable people in society who are referred to as respectable, then we need to start asking ourselves questions, because if those people involved in building an airport runway that collapsed in 5 years are still there, and some of them are still holding positions of power today, I think we need to start looking at these things. So for now, I want to say that Enugu Airport has nothing international about it. It is a local airport. That's the best way to describe it. Until we see those things that makes an international airport international, then we can start moving. I do not want to take beyond my 10 minutes. There are so many things to speak about.
Like you were watching, I was going to come in at that point.
Exactly.
So let me much for being so accurate and time conscious.
Thank you very much.
All right. So we've got our next speaker. He is Maazị Tochukwu Ezeoke, the president, Igbo Ekunie Initiative and CEO Njenje Media. Are you ready for us?
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you. I believe you can hear me right. You can hear me loud and clear.
Well, clearly.
And, you know, when it comes to the Enugu International Airport, I think my partner in crime, Onwuka, who has actually joined me on this journey for 380 something days now, still on the Enugu International Airport, trying to make sense out of the whole thing that was happening. Now, at some point when the Enugu International Airport was closed down, remember vividly, or rather recall, that we made calls for the work breakdown or the work schedule to be made public. Now, I go back and tell people, had they made that public, we wouldn't be where we are today, because it means every single person would know this is what was paid for. This is what, you know, we are expecting. And let me share something with us, if the moderator allows me. I've been able to today, this afternoon, about 2 hours ago, actually get that information. Now the question is, why did it take us this long to actually lay our hands on this information? Now, because it's apparently what we are now doing is firefighting. I had extensive conversation today with those that were involved at the Enugu International Airport. The issue that actually marred the whole thing, from my personal observation, I would say that the fanfare we had at Enugu last weekend, a week from today, was not necessary. And that actually was what led to the whole brouhaha. If we had a low key where you explained to the people and the stakeholders that this airport is actually completed, the runway actually. Now, every other thing that is happening around the airport, these are the timelines that they will be completed. I don't think anyone would be up against, because people would actually be happy that the airport reopened and work continued. But again, I had insisted even today that I still cannot place my head around the assemblage of the who is who that we had within the environment. It made nonsense of the whole work that was done in Enugu. And let us not forget, the Enugu International Airport was in really bad shape. Not only that it was in bad shape, we had issue of radio masts, you had issue of abattoir, you had issue of surrounding houses that spanned about 1.1 kilometer from the airport that were eventually later demolished. That meant about 2,100 people lost their homes. That's one thing that we must also note. And I must also note that even in doing that, that people who have lost their ancestral homes have not been compensated in no way, shape, or form. To the point that one of them, Mrs. Veronica Alum Ngene, is one of those that I'm engaging on GoFundMe to raise money to relocate her, because it is an aberration that someone who is 80 years old will have her ancestral house demolished and no plans was made to relocate her. The burial ground of 4 of her children with her husband were all bulldozed. That is an abomination. That is on the sideline. Now back to the Enugu International Airport. Obviously, I've highlighted before that the work at the Enugu International Airport ought to have been more transparent, but sadly it wasn't. And there is no gainsaying that in all the noise that happened, we lost the fact that must be stated, actually. I mean, I stand with facts. I don't care whose ox is God. The Enugu International Airport, about 3 pilots as of today had confirmed that that is the best runway in Nigeria today. They said that that is the smoothest runway that they have flown into in Nigeria. And these are pilots that uses other runways. Now, if that is the case, you can see how the mismanagement of the whole project made it possible that no one now realizes that one of the best airports that was done with glass fiber mesh. An airport that is now extended that to 3 kilometers and is, really, really well done. To the, like my good friend Oyi said, if we ever go back to the project management of that, the stakeholder management, and the timeline, there are 1 million questions to ask. I pointed at one today. If we pay attention, the minister said that close to $300 million, again, $300 million, let that sink in for a moment, was put into that airport. Then my question is, when Stella Odua was the Minister of Aviation, and we took $500 million to rehabilitate 4 international airports, and those were Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Port Harcourt, for $500 million. That was what we took. And here we are, and we are being told that we have spent close to $300 million. I mean, I'm not insinuating anything, I'll be the judge, but does that make sense? And when you look at the whole scenario surrounding Enugu International Airport, the only thing that is gratifying is that tomorrow being Monday, according to NCAA, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, that Enugu Caribbean International Airport will be open for international flights. Now, the information I also got is that today, being the 6th, the night landing with the old ILS system will be turned on. if the testing that's going to happen today goes on right, that means by tomorrow being Monday, we can all say that Enugu International Airport, or rather Akane International Airport, has finally become an international airline, an international airport that would have airlines from everywhere landing there. Now, by sometime end of October, by November, the ICO would come over and do the certification that would, if passed, hopefully, the whole plan is that all the job will be done by that time. If passed, that would mean that the airport would then have a Category 2 certification, and invariably means that airlines like British Airways, Lufthansa, and Co. now fly into Enugu. So as it is now, the issue at hand is, yes, there were failures, but in some way, and I will conclude with this, I am somehow actually happy that the runway was done and the other parts weren't, because it would have been more deadlier, because none of us understands runway. None of us, here, would understand the technicalities in runway, right? So now it's no longer, because I know what it took us to always go in there to sneak videos and pictures, get them, because no one was able and ready to get these things out. Now, it is left for the everyone to be journalists. Now, to go in, anytime you fly in there, you take pictures, you still inform the world, this airport is still this way. If I have the permission, okay, now let me share this with us quickly. So this is the work schedule that I talked about. Now, what is the scope of work? The scope of work is this. That is, when they said the number one, mobilization and demobilization of equipment, site survey, these were the things that we were, again, saying that they should have given to us. Again, as I said, the glass fiber grid mesh that they used, this is part of it. You come to a point where they began to tell us the milestone. Of course, here in January, when the ILS was installed, was when they actually started the installation of the glass fiber mesh. Now you can see the things they've done so far, the concrete stump part, that is, if you look at the airport, you see the both ends of that airport has those concrete where the airport turns around, which is new, and which is one of those things that ought to have been done. But here, the airfield lighting, you can see that started August 3rd, yet to be completed, because part of this, part of the cable for this is still in production in Germany. Now again, you come, the runway show, that's what Oyi alluded to. As the airport was still a night before the official commissioning, we went there on the 29th. Lo and behold, even part of the shoulders were still not yet done. Again, there is failure here that we can always point out that things weren't done right and things weren't, done properly the way they ought to. But one thing here is, I have come to understand that not all the job, especially most of the jobs that we are now seeing, actually was not part of the initial contract of the Enugu International Airport. However, I must note again, had they told us this from ab initio, that would have helped manage stakeholders' expectations. People would have known, what are you, and the language would have changed. And the BMC, or rather, the campaign, the people that were campaigning that they have finished it and that the airport looked so fantastic, because when you go on Twitter, you will see sometimes where they will take Port Harcourt International Airport, Abuja Airport, and jumble the pictures together with the Enugu runway that was a professional photo trick standing at the end, putting the camera down, take a slant picture, match them all together, then it will be, you know, for those who are not discerning enough, they wouldn't know which one is fake and which one is real. Wow. So far, that is on it on the Enugu International Airport. I will yield for the next speaker and I will take questions thereafter. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your submission. And
question to you at this point will be, okay, are aircrafts landing at this Canadian airport now, whether local or international?
Yes. Yes.
But international aircrafts are not landing at the moment.
No, international aircraft are not landing because they are not authorized to land until tomorrow morning. Until actually this night's 0001. So any moment from 1 minute past midnight, they will be authorized to.
What I'm saying is, we want to believe that the story will not be like what we heard from last year up until now. We want to believe that every effort will go into this to make sure that by November, like we are hearing, we'll start having these things. We'll start having these things work out the way we've been told. So I commend those who have made efforts so far to make sure that this happens. But we are still pleading. Let it not be like the old story that we have. That's my take on that. We do not want to make categorical statements that, yes, we are sure, because that's what we've said December. We said that in April. We came to August. We still have stories in August. So for those who think I have personal opinions about this, I do. It's sad. Let me bring this to your notice. The Enugu International Airport has businesses running there. Okay. There are people, the livelihoods of a lot of people are tied to that airport. Those who have shops there, airport taxis, and some other allied services within that area. All these things have been stalled for over 1 year as we speak. This is not good for the economy. People who fly into Enugu, that affects the economy of that state and all the other states around it. We need to look at this thing not just from the aviation perspective, we need to look at it also from the financial and economic perspectives. So that's why it's personal for me, because I know a lot of people we've met and we've discussed these issues who have lost livelihoods because this airport has been down for this long. And also, Maazị Ezeoke would attest to this. When Abuja Airport was being rehabilitated, Kaduna Airport was quickly fixed. Yes. So that those people who use Abuja can start using Kaduna. The road between Abuja and Kaduna was rehabilitated. When Enugu Airport was shut down, Owerri was not rehabilitated or nothing was done on Owerri. The road between Enugu and Owerri, the work was not expedited for people to have it easy going to Owerri to take flights. So you find out that why people like me push for this thing is because it affects a lot of things in the Southeast, socially and economically. So we need them to be on point. We need them to look at the timelines and follow the timelines as it is. So by November, we do not want to start hearing stories of like one funny story of rainfall. Maazị Ezeoke, I heard that and I covered my eyes in shame. You know, you give excuse for rainfall as one of the reasons why you did not deliver. Please, we are begging the rains to take it easy on us so that our people can have their livelihoods back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we have Isaac Ogwa just joining us. I wouldn't know if you have some more questions, Mr. Daniel.
I think,
okay. You know. Do you have more questions for him?
I think sequel to what Oyi said,
all right,
it is imperative also to reinforce that the people that are in Enugu or the businesses surrounding, you know, you see, we cannot continue this way. It's not about Enugu now. The whole of Nigeria, we must somehow begin to do things right. An airport being closed, what was the government plan to support the businesses, I wouldn't be surprised that those who own shops there are being told to pay rents even when the airport was closed. I wouldn't be surprised, because it wouldn't surprise me. What was government's plan to support them? Were any monetary supports given to them? And the answer would definitely be no.
No.
Again, exactly. So when something like this happens, I'm not saying this is because it's Enugu. Even if it's Abuja that will be closed tomorrow, these are businesses. These are people who have been paying taxes. I mean, the taxes they've been paying for years must amount to something. If not, what's the point? And having said that, one thing we have to do, and that that includes the Elombah media team, that includes Oyi and Igbo Renaissance film, that includes myself and Njenje and the Igbo Ekunie. What we must do is to keep pushing. Now, we've been told November. One of the things I've done is to actually get someone, the person who is in charge of this palliative and who is the lead on this project, to get, sit down with us like we are doing today, sometime in September, to find a date, maybe the last week of September or first week of October, to go back again to the timelines I shared with us before. Now say, these are things you said in this far you will do on this date. Now, where are we with that? Let us take this up. Let us do it, because that is the only way. Because now I'm, again, you learn every day. If I had these informations before, there is no reason why we wouldn't have this, maybe Zoom or anything, like monthly, even if it's bi-monthly or every 2 months, to get updates on this. That is the only way probably we would get people to sit up, apart from the normal campaigns that we do on this.
One other question I will ask, please, before you make your concluding.
That will be the last question.
Okay, I understand. Well, we are being told that 10 billion naira is expended on this Akaniban International Airport so far. In your opinion, would you think that what we have on the ground is worth the amount of money we are being told is being expended? 10 billion naira. How much does it actually worth to construct a kilometer of an airport runway?
Okay, before I answer that question, I must first of all address DSS, that I'm saying what I'm saying now as a layman. I don't want anybody to bug my life.
For you.
So I'm just being real. So, if you ask me, if I use, it's a very tough question to actually, on a serious, it's a very tough question too, because I don't know the cost of. But if I go back to one, I think that was, what's it called? There was an airport. I was just looking at airport price comparison, what it cost to build. So one airport in Ohio, Ohio was built with, I think, about $358 million. Now, $358 million. And here we are, a minister is telling us that we have spent close to $300 million. The deduction is yours. Thank you.
Really, it is. Because we see close to $300 million, and we see the difference so far on the work done. Well, it's been an awesome one. Thank you so much.
Okay.
60 seconds.
I stand on Maazị Ezeoke's disclaimer. We are not engineers, we are not quantity surveyors, but if $300 million as is being hyped has been spent there, we clap and we say Aiko, as Ghanaians would say, Aiko, that is well done. And we are watching and seeing while people are pressing their calculators and making their deductions. We will just stop at that.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you so much. You would understand that Nigerians are also pressing calculators and doing their deductions, because there are good Nigerians who know how to punch calculators. Trust me. They are good at that. Okay, so thank you so much. This is the much we can take from us on this program on Elombah TV, and it's been an awesome time. Thank you so much for coming around. And dear viewers, it's still Elombah TV, and you've got Lydia Odoada right here in our moment. Plus, in about 2 minutes, we'll bring